Don't want to be late. Coach has anger management issues. I heard this one time a kid was late for basic braiding and Coach Oleander held him upside down until he turned blue, but the kid had just drank a 6-pack of soda, and so when the coach shook him up, he exploded. Well, I guess we're all going to die. My whole life is flashing before my eyes. My first memory is of my dog, Lady. Lady and I used to go for long walks. They would go on and on and on and on. This one time, we went on a walk we called the longest walk of all time. First, we went to the end of our street, and then we turned left, and then we turned right, and then we turned a soft right, and then we turned a deep left, and then we took a side road, and then we stopped and asked for directions, and then Lady had to go to the bathroom, and then Lady saw a gopher, and then Lady had to stop and scratch, and then I bent down to tie my shoe, and then we walked 3 miles, and then we walked 2 miles, and then we walked 4 miles, and then we walked half a mile, and then we made a U-turn, and then we had a snack, and then we got lost for a while, and then we got attacked by bees, and then I fell down a manhole and had to reset my own arm back in the socket, and then we just stood still for a while. Didn't I mention the gopher yet? Thought I hit that. Okay, let me start over. First, we went to the end of our street. Oof! I think it's the door you want to hit, not me. And then I gave Lady a bone. Okay, I'm gonna close my eyes, right? And then I'm gonna start to count to 100, okay? And then you guys hide. Everybody got it? Great. 1. Hold on. This reminds me of a story. It's about counting. Hello? Man, you guys are good. I'm hunting the most dangerous prey of all. Man, I'm looking for Noggin, Elka, and Milka. Nope, not yet. Oof! Raz, I'm sorry, but that's not how you play this game. Oh man, that's from the geodesic psycho-isolation chamber. That reminds me of this time I was stuck in there for 3 days straight. The first 10 minutes weren't bad, but then the second 5 were pretty scary. I was delirious for the 3 after that, and then, where? Hey guys, hey, it's Vernon. I'm right next to you. Hey, have you guys seen Noggin or Elka or Milka? We were playing hide and seek, and it's actually a funny story. I said I'll count to 100, and then the beach? Thanks. Well, I tracked Noggin into the forest, but his footprints just disappeared. Yeah, and I tried to tag Elka, but she punched me. I saw Milka run into this cave, so all I have to do now is wait. Never follow a snake into its hole, Raz. That is the code of the mongoose. The code of the hunter. Everything is falling into place. We're moving into the end game. Shh, you'll tip off my target. Don't tell anyone I'm out here. You see those guys? Not now, Raz. I'm in the middle of a story. Hey, why are you trying to fire start me, Raz? Hey, put me down. Ha 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 ha. Oh. Yes, hacky sack. Hi, Raz. Yeah, we're great. Me and my pals Kitty and Franke are just hanging out telling stories and watching the Boob Tube. It did seem kind of weird when they let me get this close to them, and then they didn't mind when I talked all through the show. Kitty even agreed to go on a date with me, more or less. We're gonna play hacky sack. Roger that, Raz. Did you ladies know one of the bloodiest battles of the Civil War was fought on the shore of this very lake? Yup, it's true. It happened back when this place was still an Indian summer camp and burial ground. A group of Union soldiers got separated from their regiment. Night was falling, and they were cold and scared of Dracula. Boo. I'm kidding. They were just terrified of getting shot. Though I'm sure any of them with any sense were afraid of Dracula too. They stumbled across an old building. You could still see it on the far side of the lake. So they decided to spend the night there. Little did they know it was an abandoned Indian insane asylum built on a caveman burial ground. Yup. Little did they also know that a cursed fish lived in the asylum and that he was an escaped lunatic but from a different asylum. So even though he was actually living in an asylum, he was still counted as escaped. And what was his curse, you ask? Where his gills should have been? He had hooks. Yup, and where one of the hooks should have been? He had a lug. Yep, a lug, and instead of being about 14 inches long, he was 10 feet tall. But that wasn't the scariest thing. The scariest thing, the absolute scariest thing, and the thing that still makes the old-timers' blood turn to ice, and vice versa, is the part I said first about how he had hooks for gills. Oh, brr. Anybody need a hug? Anybody? No? Okay then, anybody mind if I tell that story again? Speak up now if you don't want to hear it again. Here we go. Oh, now Raz, you made me lose my place. Where was I, girls? Oh well, guess I have to start over at the beginning. Hem. Take your time. I've got a lot of really good stories. TV. Wow, what an amazing story. I mean, that is a really, really good story. And you know what the best part is? I'm in it. I better go write that whole thing down before we all get killed. Hey, when Franke gets rebrained, tell her I'm okay and our date's still on, okay? I don't want her to worry. Not now, Raz. I'm trying to finish writing my memoirs before we all die. Oh man, gotta work a little turtle with a crown into the story somehow. Maybe he can be my little wisecracking sidekick.